Bloodlines 2. I'm disappointed. Honestly, I came into this game with no expectations. I didn't have any preconceived notions of what it should be. Literally just wanted to play it fresh, clear of any other people's impressions. Now, I had seen that the game was reviewing poorly prior to release, but I didn't watch or read any of them because, again, I just wanted to see it for myself. My disappointment right now really mainly stems from the fact that my initial impressions were actually fairly positive. I was having a good time in like my first hour of playing. Kind of like the vibe. Hello.
You're going down, asshole!
What? Wait, why would you? This is a security guard and the first thing he would do is like come out swinging. I wasn't expecting the physics behind that. That's beautiful. I actually really appreciated that. Movement actually feels pretty good so far. I know I'm not doing much, I'm just WASDing and jumping, but this actually feels good and it seems to be running well. And this game's getting dumped reviews, but honestly my first 15 minutes has been pretty fun / funny. Okay, so we got wall climbing. Is it like full anywhere? Oh, dude. It is. I can telekinesis these. This guy like, wait, is he gonna? He doesn't think anything about that flying past his head from this direction. What about this game sucks? Because so far it's been pretty cool, but maybe E is still stealth attack? I see. Okay, control to dash. We are changing that to mouse bind. Hold for heavy attack. I think it's already mouse bind as well, it is. Can I telekinesis you? Whoa. Unblockable. Got some nice weight behind the punches. Guys, I'm kind of liking this so far. However, as I continued to play, the cracks swiftly started to show themselves. And the more I saw progressively, the more disappointed I became. Kind of have some thoughts. It's like a shame because there's actually some things about this game that I think are pretty good, if not like really well done. But man, it's also like super shallow. I think what's like kind of frustrating to me is I can kind of see how this game could have been really good. It's like some decisions and features away from potentially having been really good. Guys, I'll be honest, this shit's just pretty boring. Just like running around from one NPC to the other. And I think it's even worse because these sections have zero combat. While there are things that I like about it, overall, I think the game just feels kind of shallow and lacking any depth. And this is coming from someone who isn't even familiar with the original. From what I have heard, fans of the first game have even more reason to be disappointed, as they evidently stripped a majority of the game's interesting features, systems, and RPG mechanics that people liked about the original out of the sequel. There's like no RPG stuff, which we'll get to. But even all of that aside, just on its own merits, Bloodlines 2 as a standalone product in a vacuum, it's just a bit of a letdown. Like 8 hours in, I have seen and played enough. I'm all done, and I want to talk about the reasons why. So in a nutshell, Bloodlines 2 is a story-driven action combat game. You've got vampires in Seattle with this detective noir angle where you're running around, uncovering mysteries, meeting and talking to NPCs, with some action combat and parkour woven in between. And that's pretty much the gist of it. A lot of the maybe additional features, systems, and mechanics that you might expect from an open world game, they're simply not present. And that is probably what stood out the most to me in the over 8 hours that I played. I just think the whole thing feels rather shallow and underbaked, which is a killer for a game that has been in development for as long as this one has. Although I guess to be fair, reports state that it went through numerous restarts in that time period. And as we have since learned, they scrapped quite a lot of content and features, probably to the game's detriment based on how reception is going thus far. To be clear as to what I'm talking about, there's really just not a lot in the game. There's not much going on here. Not a lot to do, very few systems or content variety for you to engage with. Just not much of anything. You're going to spend a majority of your time, I'm gonna say like 80 to 90% of it, just walking into a building, talking to an NPC or two, then walking to another building, talking to more NPCs, maybe you're gonna get a cutscene before walking to yet another building and doing it all over again. Now, there is the occasional combat encounter in between, and times where you're parkouring through the city, and I have to say, like, I genuinely enjoy doing both of those things, but it is very much so a story-driven game, and that's what you're gonna spend a majority of your time doing, and you won't be doing a whole lot of fighting, which again is a shame because I actually think that the fighting is pretty good. Not the best out there, but pretty good. And yes, also for an open world game, there's just not much going on. Like literally Nothing to do. So you've got mostly empty buildings and skyscrapers, something like 10 of which can actually be physically entered. Everything else is just there to navigate around or climb over. There are civilian NPCs walking the street, but all they amount to is blood bags, who you can suck the blood out of. The only interesting thing here, which is a thing, where you've got these 3 different blood types, and you're going to basically use these to accumulate points to unlock other clans' abilities, but that's basically as deep as it gets. There is nothing in the way of like interesting events or activities happening in the open world. There's really nothing happening in the city. And that leads to my other thing, which is like this game has practically no world interactivity and environmental interactivity. You cannot interact or engage with anything in the environment aside from the NPCs. The entire playscape amounts to window dressing. Yes, you can drain the blood out of those NPCs walking around. There's the occasional bit of garbage like bottles and trash that you can pick up, or weapons that you can toss. There are some collectibles in the environment, including these runic markings that you'll find on the side of buildings, and then you've got the story NPCs to talk to, but literally that's it. Like all of the other things that a lot of open world games have, this doesn't have. It's just like buildings, you can only walk into like 10 of them, NPCs walking around, you drain their blood, you fight the bad ones. And that's everything. There's nothing else to interact with. It's just really unbelievable. As I kept playing, I was like, surely there must be more going on, a lot more stuff to do and ways to interact with the city, but it simply isn't there. And as a result, it all feels flat and rather dead, unfortunately. Also, as mentioned earlier, it looks like they stripped any semblance of RPG out of the game. Things that were in the original, also elements that are in many other RPG games, are simply not present in this game. In fact, I found this one Reddit comment that did a pretty thorough breakdown of things that were in the original, as well as this game's original early testing that got stripped out of the final version. No character creation, no guns, no melee weapons, no stats in the game, no stat checks in the dialogue with things like persuasion, intimidation, seduction, scholarship, and investigation. There's no inventory system. The game doesn't have a quest log, no hacking or lockpicking. And then there's a few like Bloodline specific elements, like there's no Nosferatu except for one enemy or one ally that you can talk to. There's no humanity system, no Grangrel or Frenzy. I don't really know what those are, but all of those other RPG things, like, it's rather crazy. This is a story-driven RPG game without any dialogue checks, no stats, no inventory system, no quest log, no lockpicking, which, yeah, I mean, kind of whatever, but still. Yeah, like a lot of RPG systems are simply not here. Now, I do want, the one amendment that I would say is the game technically does have melee weapons and guns. He's talking about ones that you can actually wield. In this game, they have a telekinesis system where you can pick some of the stuff up and throw it, but that's the end of it. Like, if you pick up a gun, you can shoot it once with your telekinesis, but then it drops. But the point is, this isn't an RPG with a paper doll system where you're equipping yourself with gear, where you're putting weapons on that you're constantly carrying around. It's just that sometimes enemies will drop their bat and you can pick up their bat and huck it, but that's it. And all of the other stuff, yes, all of that stuff isn't present. So yeah, a lot of things that you might expect from like an open world RPG, but it's not here because they just got rid of all of the RPG stuff. It's a story-driven game with some action combat and some parkour. All of the RPG is gone. It's just not here. It's not in the game. I think something that stood out really a lot to me though was a lot of like really simple and expected basic quality of life and systems features that should be here. They aren't here either. Biggest of all for me, I think, is the fact that there's zero FOV slider, which I simply could not believe. What is my FOV though, actually? What is my FOV? Because I'm already starting to feel a little like, ooh. I got all the things on, by the way, in case you're wondering. Just as necessary. Do I not see FOV? No field of view settings? Accessibility? Video? Oh no. It's not gonna be under audio. That wouldn't make any sense. Difficulty. Access. Sensitivity. Look. Sensitivity. Vibration. God. No FOV setting. Can I, dude? Who cares? Literally, I do. I honestly tend to get motion sick without FOV adjustments in first-person games. I can't believe they don't have an FOV slider. Like, that is bonkers to me, to be honest with you. What's the FOV? 0. I checked, double checked, triple checked, and then did a Google search. There's no FOV slider. Like, I thought we had gotten to the point where games will have FOV sliders, especially games on PC. I know on consoles, they kind of build these games with a set FOV in mind. You're playing further away from the screen, you got a controller, but on a PC game, a first-person PC game, you really should have an FOV slider. It's unbelievable that they don't have it. But they also, like, don't have stuff like the ability to disable motion blur. There is no manual saving in the game, but what's more is that there's only actually one save game file, so if you say want to start a new save to try a different clan or to make a new character with like a different backstory or whatever you want to do for your role playing, that's going to manually overwrite the existing save. So no manual saving. You just got to rely on auto saves. Sometimes this can be a disaster, and only a single save file. Also not great. Also, there are no shortcut keys for many like of the menu stuff that you would expect. So for example, you know how some games you can hit M to pull up your map, or like K or something, or P to pull up your skill tree. None of that. Like the only way to access the sub menus is to first hit escape and then click on map, to click on your skill system, click on the lore stuff, but that's it. Like they don't have keybinds for that stuff. I don't understand why. And then finally, in the list of negatives, I would say performance could definitely be a lot better. For me in particular, a lot of games tend to run pretty well, especially if I tweak with the settings, but even this game started to struggle once I got into the open world bits, which is pretty much everything other than those like 10 or so buildings that are instanced story driven areas. As I mentioned at the top though, there are some things that I actually quite like about this game. In the opening hours, I was having some fun, and that was due to a few things. I think there were some legitimately funny moments in the game, like between the game's physics, but also the whole premise of you being a vampire who's trying not to be spotted, don't want to break the masquerade. Like there's some funny stuff and some chuckle-worthy moments that happened.
Holy, that's incredible.
My legs. Oh, my legs. Ouch. My legs are broken. Also along those lines, while I think that dialogue can be hit or miss, it can be hit or miss, and sometimes that means it hits, and there are moments in the dialogue that I found a bit entertaining. Oh, this is like in Twilight, when the Vatican, what are the vampires at the Vatican? Shit, what are they called? The Volturi. This is like in Twilight when the Volturi are pissed at Edward, right? And they want to kill him. Yes, Twilight. This is just like Twilight. That's where they got the inspiration for this game. Now it's all coming together, guys.
Oh, they think a lot more than that now. Young adult literature has revolutionized our image.
It can be no worse than Stoker.
That depends on your perspective. Some of the old guard really don't like the idea of the glitterati.
Oh my God!
Times change.
They're literally referencing Twilight. Broke the fourth wall, reference Twilight in the vampire game. As I mentioned already, I think the combat feels solid. Like, I think it's probably the best thing about this game. It feels sort of like Dishonored light. You've got all of these like action combat moves. You can kind of be zipping and dodging around. You've got different kicks and drop kicks, a variety of punches. And so I've got heavy, I've got light spam, I've got my telekinesis where I can pick stuff up and throw it, although there's nothing here at the moment. There is a slide. There is a slide kick. Jump, crouch, attack. It's kind of weird, but I can do it. Whoa, 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 whoa! And then also mix with the clan skills that you get. So you'll pick your clan and you'll have like a main line that you can move through, but then you can also invest in the other clans as you unlock their abilities through clan trainers. But for the clan I picked, I started out with this like kiss ability where it's essentially like a mind control. You kiss an enemy and then it like has them fighting for your side for a while. I also unlocked a teleport, the ability to charm enemies, which kind of puts them in a daze for a while, and then this like super dodge, making it really easy for you to avoid attacks. Similarly to the combat as well, I think the movement in this game feels fantastic. You're able to freely climb buildings and zip around, running straight up, jumping, double jumping, dashing. You've got like this vampire sprint that makes you really fast, and you have a glide. And all of that actually makes like the parkour and moving through the city feel pretty good. We have a vampire run that I can do straight into the jump. So I can do this, vampire run, jump, glide. Can I then dash off of that? I can. Like, that's really good. This is like great movement, dude. And then I can fucking wall run. Like, oh my God. It's really good. So the movement and the combat feel really good. There's some funny moments. There's some things about the story that I like. But unfortunately, those things just haven't been enough to hold it all together. And for how shallow the game feels overall, and for what's really lacking, like I could even deal with like a story-driven action game again, because I'm not attached to the original Bloodlines game. I came into this trying to view it as like its own thing, divorced from whatever the people's expectations of the originals are. And because I don't have any expectation myself, because I don't think I played the thing. Like maybe I played it for like an hour at a friend's house house at one point, but I don't even recall. Even just viewing it on its own merits, it unfortunately feels very, very shallow. And ultimately, I just found myself getting more and more disinterested as the hours went by. And yeah, around the 8-hour mark, I was like, you know what? I think I've seen and had enough. Like, even though there are moments of things that I enjoy while playing this, there's a whole lot more in between that's just kind of dragging on, and so much walking between NPCs and talking, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but ultimately, yeah, the whole thing just feels really shallow, and that's really probably my biggest disappointment. I know I'm not alone either, because if you take a look at reviews, they've just not been good. As mentioned, the pre-release reviews that came out from critics, not particularly great. Over here on OpenCritic, you can see a 64 critic average, with only 31% of critics recommending the game. Similarly, over on Metacritic, not looking great. They have a score of 65 based on 23 critic reviews, and some of them, I mean, these are some really low ones. Guardian gave it a 40. Excuse me. That's not very good. Yeah, I mean, just overall, it seems like it's a disappointment all around. It's disappointing as a standalone product, and it's also disappointing for people who were hoping for a proper sequel to the original game. I mean, honestly, if anything, I think it would have been better off had they just called it something other than Bloodlines 2, because it does feel so divorced from what apparently people really liked about the original. Like, if this were just sold as like a Vampire Masquerade spin-off IP that wasn't Bloodlines, I think it probably would have been like slightly better received, but even still, it's got plenty of flaws. I think the combat and traversal, and then yes, I do like some of like the world building characters and story, but also at the same time, I don't know that they're enough. I still think even if this weren't called Bloodlines and this were just a Vampire Masquerade spinoff, even in that case, I still think we'd be looking at more 7 out of 10s instead of like 5s and 6 out of 10s that the game has been getting hit with. That said, I don't think there's nothing of value of here. I did have some fun while playing. Eventually, I got to the point where I'm like, all right, that's it. But I would say, like, if you're really into vampires and you want a game that just tells a little bit of a vampire story with some decent action combat and parkouring, like, you could have some fun with this. I probably just wait until it's on a discount or something, because what is it, like $60? I don't know, feels a little bit steep for what's on offer here. Yeah, I mean, really, like as I said in the beginning, I'm just disappointed, but once more, not because of any preconceived notions of what a sequel to Bloodlines should be. I don't have those, but just because I started off like, hey, this seems decent, and then it just got worse and worse, and like I expected, I kept waiting for the game to start fleshing itself out, and it just didn't happen. It's just like story, talking NPCs, some moments of action combat, which is decent, and some parkouring around a empty, lifeless city with like nothing happening in it. And I wanted more game. I wanted more interesting systems and layers and features. And it honestly really sounds like they could have been well served had they kept in a lot of those RPG elements on those layers, that long list of things that they decided to remove. Like, I probably would have loved a weapon system where we're actually holding weapons and actually having stats and character screens and dialogue checks and an inventory system, and a freaking quest log would have been amazing. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, yeah, just disappointed, really. It's a shame, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I know there are some people who are enjoying this, and like I said, I don't think there's nothing of value here. There is something you could extract some fun out of it, but ultimately, I'm just kind of let down, and I am done. I am done playing this game, but that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you been playing Bloodlines 2? Are you enjoying it? Do you not like it? Preconceived notions or otherwise? Let me know. Let me know what you think. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.